And wiggle around on your cushion or your block, whatever you're sitting on, until you feel evenly planted. Let your hands rest easily, gently on your knees. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down. And close your eyes. Take a moment to just watch yourself arriving here on your mat. Just observe that as if you were watching a movie. And in this movie, you are the lead actor. It's the movie of your life, and you are also the director of this movie. So feel yourself, see yourself literally in this movie, walking into this room, making all of the arrangements you made, closing the doors, telling people you'd be away for a while, and then just sitting on this seat, this director's chair. Notice breath coming in and out of your nose. And notice your willingness to show up here today. And then the willingness to keep showing up when the mind wanders and starts to drift toward all the things, all the things. Just keep observing your willingness to come back to this seat again and again, being present in the lead role of your life. Today we're going to celebrate a hero named Hanuman. Hanuman is the happy little monkey in Hindu history. And the story of Hanuman is precious. I'm going to tell the story of Hanuman today. So Hanuman was a hero that you get to put yourself in the role of. Let's shrug the shoulders up by the ears, and you're just going to hold there for a second. Just squeeze that trapezius muscle super, super tight. And then on 3, we're going to drop it down with force. 1, 2, 3. Just let your shoulders kind of dangle there. Let's do that again. Inhale and squeeze super, super tight. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3. And we'll go one more time. Inhale, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. 1, 2, 3. Boom. And just notice a little bit more lightness in the shoulders. Let's reach the arms up overhead. Take a deep breath in, interlace your fingers, and press the palms up. Just sitting here, take several deep breaths, lengthening the side of your body. On your exhale, pull your bottom rib in and notice how that's going to bring your shoulders forward just a little bit. I want you to stay right there. So if I were sideways, you would see that if my arms were straight overhead, I'd kind of be popping my bottom ribs out. And when I pull those bottom ribs in, that pulls my shoulders forward. I'm going to press up from there. So bottom ribs in, core super, super strong. Press, it's almost like for me, where the wall meets the ceiling. Just building a little bit of fire here. And then release your hands, bring the fingertips behind you, open up and let that rib cage reach forward again. Nice full breaths into the front of your belly, your chest, your shoulders. Good. And then let's go ahead and come around, move your cushion, your block, your support, come around to child's pose. We'll take our knees out wide. We'll rest our hips back. Forehead can come to the mat. And if you want, just roll your head from side to side. Just feeling that gentle pressure on your forehead. And then coming back up into tabletop position, let's tuck our toes and we'll lift into downward facing dog. Let's pedal the heels here. I'm going to keep you here for a few breaths while I bring in some music. And if you want to walk your dog a little bit, pick your right foot up just a few inches and cross it to the outside of the opposite foot and just start to do that, kind of threading the needle behind your ankles. Just taking a casual little walk here on your mat. Bring your feet back a little farther so that you feel a little more stretch through your shoulders and chest. And then both feet side by side. Take a deep breath in up onto your tippy toes. Exhale, press your heels down, lift your toes. Do that again, come up onto your toes. Drop back to your heels and lift your toes. We'll go one more time. Slowly walk your feet to your hands and press to shins. Let's lift halfway, lengthen the spine. Feel yourself moving forward from the hips down into ragdoll. Knees are soft. Make 2 firm footprints underneath you. Let's lift halfway, and then we'll circle, sweep the arms around behind us and up into that extended mountain. Press, interlace your fingers, press the palms up, and notice how that bottom rib wants to pop out again. Pull the bottom rib in, even if that calls your arms forward slightly. So how far back can you push your arms without pushing your rib cage forward? That's different for every body. I want you to try to do both. Look up at your hands and release to standing mountain pose. Good. Right up at the top of your mat, we're going to roll through 2 sun salutations. Make sure we're good and warm to travel into these hips today. So let's reach the arms high. Bow forward, exhale. Inhale, half lift. And step back into downward facing dog. Shifting forward into plank pose. Hold here for a moment, pressing the earth away from you, opening your shoulder blades. Get as high away from the floor as you can. And then keep your body just like it is, but drop your knees. Point your toes back, still pressing down through your hands. Let's swivel the crease of the elbows forward, shift forward, and lower halfway down and hold. Really hug those arms in, yielding heat. Melt your belly, roll up into cobra, and press back, downward facing dog. Again, if you want to walk your dog a little bit here, you can, just crisscrossing behind your ankle. A playful way to stretch your calves, Achilles tendons, feet. And rest with feet side by side. Hips lift high, head loose. And look forward, feet to hands, half lift and fold. And then take a huge sip of air in, rise up. Bring your hands to your heart, rib cage hugs in. You're gonna see a little later why that's important. Let's go one more time, reach up. Beautiful, everyone, bow forward. Lift halfway, step back downward facing dog and take a vinyasa. This time on your knees or your toes. And we'll meet in downward facing dog. Crisscross the feet or just stay in down dog. If this is too weird, wacky, and different, just stay in down dog. And let's come with feet together. Inhale up on your tippy toes. Exhale back, heels down, toes up. 2 more of those. And coming forward, feet to hands, halfway lift. As we come into forward fold, separate your feet and come into gorilla pose. We're gonna bend the knees, slide the hands under the feet. Toes come to the crease of the wrist and we just scrunch those toes, massaging our wrist. You're doing a handstand here, standing on your hands. Release your hands. Lift halfway and then circle up again. Reach high. And bring your hands to your heart. Standing right here in your own footprints, the hero of your own story. Let's take another deep breath in. Exhale, forward fold. Step back to downward facing dog and lower your knees to the ground. All right, so we're gonna start our story here in hero's pose. So this is where I recommend, even if it's comfortable and easy for you to be down here on your heels, we're here a while. So I would recommend putting something underneath your legs so that you don't have quite as big a bend in your knees and you can be here really comfortably. So this is hero pose, Virasana. And I want you to have your knees close together. See about getting your big toes to touch. And I can't really show you this, but can you also try to bring your inner ankles toward each other? So your feet are gonna be really active underneath you. We're gonna press our hands to our thighs and lift and lengthen through the spine, but keep that bottom rib in. We're just gonna take a few breaths here in hero's pose. If you keep pressing your feet together and down into the earth, that's gonna keep your legs active and it's gonna give your knees some support. If this still doesn't work for you, take your legs out from under you and just come to seated. Reach your arms overhead, interlace your fingers, press palms up, but pull that bottom rib in, even if the arms sink forward. Fiery breath, Ujjayi breath. So Hanuman was the, let's say, devoted servant to Rama. And Rama was married to Sita, his beloved. So this is the pose of Hanuman sitting faithfully next to Rama always, his devoted servant. We're going to bring the hands down and take a twist to the right. So left hand across to the right thigh, right arm wraps behind the back. You're just looking over your right shoulder. And as we're here, we're gently stretching quadriceps down around those knees. Sweep the arms up, interlace the fingers again, palms up. As you pull the bottom ribs in, the arms might come forward a bit, but press up with force, breathe deeply. So in a turn of events, Rama's beloved Sita was kidnapped by the 10-headed demon Ramana. Go ahead and release, twist to the left side. And Rama, as you can imagine, was distraught, was brokenhearted. The king of the universe, and he couldn't do any of his work because he was so distraught at losing his beloved. So Hanuman sat here and observed the tears. He observed the heartache and the cries and the screams of anguish. And he decided he had to do something about it. Reach the arms up, interlace the fingers, press, pull the bottom ribs in one more time. And then release the hands down. Slide your bolster out for a moment. We'll be back there. Tuck your toes Drop your heels and come into downward facing dog. So let's give our legs a little bit of a break. The right leg comes up, straight up to the ceiling. Let's keep our hips squared. Flex and point that foot, circle the ankle. Just lift as high as you can, pressing down into your left heel and up through the right leg. Bend the knee, open up to the right, circle the ankle again. And come back down. Let's switch sides. Left leg goes straight up. We'll keep those hips squared. So you're essentially in the splits here already. Flex and point that foot. Lift as high as you can and then bend the knee. Open the hips to the left side. Right heel down. Left knee up. Beautiful, everybody. And switch. Come back down to the ground. Let's come forward into plank pose, knees or toes lower halfway. And then we'll all drop our knees and come down onto the belly, shoulders roll back. Reach your arms behind you, locust pose. We hug those shoulders onto the back. You can keep your feet down or float your legs up. Let your belly press into the earth as you breathe. And releasing to the ground, hands by the shoulders, press up to tabletop. One more time, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Let's pedal our heels. Feet come a little bit wider. Walk your hands back to your feet. And with soft knees, grab behind your feet and gently pull yourself down. Length through the hammies. And then put that big bend in the knees, press your hands to your thighs, come down into chair pose, lifting the chest, arms reach. We're going to interlace again and tuck the bottom ribs in, palms press away. Be a really fiery pose where there's lots of heat. This again, you know, is this warrior preparing for battle. He knows what he has to do. Go ahead and come up high, press palms, bottom ribs in, and release the hands behind. Let's open up through the chest. Go ahead and let that bottom rib press forward, shoulders hug back. Hips sink forward slightly. And then we'll hinge. Keep the hands together, head down, knuckles high. Just nod your head, shake the neck. And release your hands to the earth. Walk forward into downward facing dog one more time. And if you'd like, I'll give you time for a vinyasa. If not, stay right here. All right, let's get back to our story. Drop the knees. We're going to come back into that hero's pose. So the pillow comes underneath the legs. Take your time finding a comfortable place for your knees. And if this is excruciating for your knees, sit on the ground. Find something different that doesn't hurt your knees. You could also even come up even higher. All right, so knees are together, big toes are touching. We're trying to hug the inner ankles toward one another. And we're pressing our feet down into the earth. That gives us strength in the legs that supports the knees. Okay, so Hanuman said, Rama, I'll take care of this. And he enlisted his army of monkey friends. And so the next pose involves picking up the right foot and bringing the right knee up. So the right foot comes right inside the left knee. The arms reach up. Hanuman presses up, palms to the ceiling, bottom rib in. And this is the very first step he takes toward that split, that flying leap. He gets one foot out and he is ready. Pull the ribs in, press the arms high. He's a devoted servant. He'll do anything to make Lord Rama happy. Let's release and find our twist again. Now that hand has a knee, fingertips behind or wrapped. Lengthen and pull your rib cage toward the right side. Head turns last. And release to center. Come on up and switch legs. The right shin is down, the left foot comes right inside the right knee. Find that rounding of your hips, press the arms up, rib cage in. So this rib cage in, that's really keeping that strong cylinder of your core, keeping your shoulders and your back all working together. Deep breath in, look up. Exhale, find your twist to the left side. You can use an elbow, you can use a hand. Fingertips can wrap or touch behind. And the head turns last. Invite your rib cage to twist to the left, chest toward the left side. Deep breaths. And come back to center. All right, so we're gonna take that cushion out from underneath us. Let's down dog it out. Pedal the heels, stretch out the back of those knees. We're done with hero's pose now. You might be happy to know, but your quads are a little bit looser. So we're gonna take the right leg high, and this time we'll shift forward, stepping that foot between our thumbs, and we're gonna drop the back knee. So if you need some padding under that knee, take a moment to fold your mat or get a blanket. And here in this kneeling lunge, we're starting to bring that sensation up across the hip flexor. So you can stay right here, or you can press up a little higher, hand to knee. If you're choosing that, there's a nice little back bend here for you. You press onto the knee as your back leans into extension. You can stay there, or you can add the arms up overhead. We're just looking for length between the left bottom rib and the left knee. See if you can really lengthen that space more. Awesome, you guys. Bring the fingertips down to the floor, tuck the back toes, lift the knee, and we're gonna bring that foot right up off the ground, come into a standing split. The head down toward the shin. Top leg lifts as high as your body will allow. And then let's step that foot down again, tuck the toes, rise up to high lunge. Continue working in that left hip flexor, grab your left wrist, stretch up and out. Nice. Good, and then hands come right in front of the heart. Let's hinge forward for a twist. Looking to the right. Let your rib cage open to the right. Lower back stays long. The twist comes from the middle of the back up. All right, release those hands to the ground, step back, downward facing dog. Option to take a vinyasa. Option to stay right here. When you are ready, the left leg floats high. Swing that leg through, or help that leg through like I do, and drop the knee. Find the padding that your right knee desires. So Hanuman got some intel from his monkey army, and he found out that Ramana Ramana was holding Sita in Sri Lanka. He had her in the forest. He was hiding her in Sri Lanka. Lanka at the time. You can stay here or press up. And so, being the devoted servant that he was, he said, I'm going to get her. I'm going to get her. So he started all of the preparation that it would take for him to leap from the southern tip of India over to Sri Lanka to rescue the beloved Sita. So that's what we're doing now. We're preparing for our big gesture, our big rescue. Let the hands come down, tuck the toes, and lift up high, standing split. These stories all apply to our lives in that we all have a challenge out ahead of us. We have something in front of us that requires some preparation and some devotion to something greater. Might even be something that scares us. Let's go ahead and drop that toe. Rise up, high lunge. Here we go, friends. Lift and lengthen. Take a hold of your right wrist. Stretch up out of that right side. You want space between your right bottom rib and your right knee. Lift and lengthen. And coming back to center, hands to heart. Hinge over your left leg and then rotate. Lower back stays lengthened. The twist starts at the bottom of the rib cage. Turn your chest to the left. Breathe. Wonderful, everybody. Release hands to the mat, step back, down dog, optional vinyasa, your choice. It just helps us stay heated and strong. All right, so he prepares to take his flying leap. Right leg lifts, step that foot through, drop the back knee. And let's start to move now forward and back. So we're moving into the pose named after Hanuman, Hanumanasana. If you want to say that out loud, it's really fun. Hanumanasana. Tongue kind of gets twisted on it. So picture the monkey standing with one foot, the left foot at the tip of southern India, and the right foot reaching out toward Sri Lanka. So you can continue moving like this, or you can start to slide yourself out into what feels like the splits for you. And we've been in the split since that very first kneeling lunge. This is just more extension. So if your splits look like this, it's great. You could bring your bolster under your front thigh and give yourself something to rest on, maybe 2 bolsters. Keep some weight on your hands. If you have blocks, those are really helpful to put under your hands. And Hanuman was patient. He had to wait till just the right time in this flying leap across continents, but he knew what he had to do. And so you can imagine him reaching with his right toes and plucking Sita up out of Sri Lanka, away from the 10-headed demon, and bringing her back to her true love, Rama. So the center of your body is this place where future and past connect. See if you can feel that. Pull your left hip forward and your right hip back, and feel that strength underneath you here in the center. take one more breath here, celebrating this reunion. And drop to your right hip, bend your right knee, ease your way out of this, and come back into downward facing dog. And it might feel really good to take that right leg up again, shake it out, open through the hip, flip your dog if you like. It will look like this wild thing. Take a moment. Do your hips feel different, right and left? Let's raise the left leg and we'll step through. Dropping that knee, finding any padding that you need. So we'll do the same thing. Let's begin forward and back motion. And priming the pump. And if this feels good to your body, just continue moving like this, hamstring to hip flexor. If you'd like to explore a little more of the splits, this is actually the splits with a bent knee. This is the splits. This is the splits. It's all the splits. It's all Hanumanasana with different legs. And actually, it's the difference in your body and someone who has more or less flexibility is hip sockets. It's a bony structure thing more than flexibility. If you have a deep hip socket, your Hanumanasana is going to be up higher off the ground. If you have a shallow hip socket, you're going to have more range of motion. So just closing your eyes and feeling your center here as you draw the left hip backward and the right hip forward. Feel that hugging in. You're plugging your bones into your pelvis. You're breathing. Patient with yourself and your strengths and your limitations. This is your body. One more breath here, friends. And then release. There's really no graceful way out of that pose that I have found. But we'll crawl our way around to downward facing dog. Let's raise that left leg, bend the knee, open up through the hip. Flip your dog if you like. Whatever feels like a nice transition for you. Yes. So let's do a couple of things just to shake that out. Right leg comes up, step through, drop the back heel, lift up to warrior one, nice and slow. Just let yourself rise up like a warrior. Heel open into warrior two, wide stance, deep warrior pose. Turn the palm, reverse your warrior. Let's straighten that front leg. Beautiful. Cartwheel into triangle pose, keeping the legs straight. Reach up through long arms. Hopefully that feels good after all of that opening. Bring your left hand to your left, that's your left hand. Bend the knee and reach up again into side angle. Let the arm reach over your ear. And then circle that arm across your face. Come to wide straddle and be here any way you like. You can just fold down and exhale. You can move, bending and straightening, lunging side to side. Full slow breaths. Lifting up to a flat back. Let's turn toward our left foot. Dropping the heel, we'll rise up, warrior one. Feel your strong feet underneath you and then open out a little wider, warrior two. See if you can deepen your lunge. Good, left palm turns, reverse warrior. Straighten that front leg. Open up into the side of your body so much, so much. And then cartwheel over, triangle pose, Trikonasana. Really reach, touch the ceiling with that top hand. Your spine is straight and long. Gorgeous. Hand to the hip, bend your left knee, come down a little lower, and then reach that arm to the ceiling or up over your ear. Really stretch. Your body should be good and open now. Just enjoy this new playground. Openness. Circle that arm down, toes to the corners of the mat, lunge it out side to side. Happy hips, yeah. Turning back toward the front edge of your mat. Let's meet in down dog one last time with a final invitation to take a vinyasa. And then dropping the knees to the ground. You're gonna come into camel pose. So you're gonna wanna pat up underneath those knees, shins again, if you need to or want to. I always like to start camel with my toes tucked under, hands pressing to the glutes, and think of pressing down away from your waistband. It's kind of a common mistake that we see people pressing into their back, and so they kind of break right there through the low back. So instead of that, press down on your hips, lift up through the rib cage. And then go back as if you were leaning over a high bar. Shoulders wrap backwards. Chin is slightly forward. You don't want to have a Pez head here. You want to be able to swallow and breathe. If all is a green light for you, you're welcome to touch your heels. Breathe deeper, expand more. Your mission is accomplished. The rescue mission is complete. True love has been restored to planet Earth, thanks to you. And release. As we come back to neutral, bring yourself around into a seat with legs out in front of you, Dandasana. You sit sideways. And put your hips on something if you like, but just bring your hands over your heart. Kind of close yourself back in. Camel is a big exposing pose, so are the splits. So just put a little pressure on your chest, a signal to your nervous system to head into the calm, parasympathetic, rest and digest. Bend your right knee, let it drop out to the side. We'll take a seated one leg forward fold, arms high, and then come over that extended leg. You're welcome to bend your knee, to use a strap. Breathe into the length of the whole back of your body. Feel the settling here, that nervous system shifting over to rest. And then walk your hands back toward you until you find that straight spine again. We're going to bring the hands to the bottom ribs. So tuck those ribs in, lift and lengthen, and then roll your rib cage to the right. When that gets as far as it's going to go, set your hand on the right knee. Bring your right hand behind you. And then notice a tendency to always just kind of drop that hand in the same place. For today, can we try to walk those fingers farther, creating a little more squeeze of the right shoulder blade on the back, a little more opening here through the shoulder. Turn your head. As you breathe in, draw energy from the earth all the way up to the crown of your head. As you breathe out, can you turn your ribs to the right a little more? Maybe walk your fingers. And let your abdominal muscles bring you back home. Come to Dandasana, staff pose. Shake out your legs a bit. Roll your shoulders. And switch. Left knee bends, left knee drops. Reach the arms high and fold from the hips. Using any of the props that help you sink in here. Close your eyes, feel breath moving in your body. The backside of you stretching. And slowly walk your hands back. Find your tall spine. Hands on the rib cage. So make length in your low back and then move from the rib cage. The lower back vertebrae don't twist. We twist from the middle of the back up. Right hand to knee, left hand behind. And then let's do the same thing. Lift and lengthen. Walk those left fingers back even more, creating more opening of the chest. Turn your head. The inhale comes up from underneath you all the way through the crown of your head. Exhale, twist a tiny bit more, just a fraction. And as you release the hand, let the abdominal muscles drive you home. Legs out, shake the legs, roll your shoulders. All right, let's bend our knees. Come to the front edge of the mat and roll yourself down. As you do, knees come in. Give a little squeeze here. A little hug, a little movement. Let's hold the right knee in, let the left leg drop to the floor. And squeeze this right knee harder. You were kneeling on this knee, so you've got probably a little more range of motion here. Really squeeze at the hip joint. Take that knee out to the side. Let your hips stay on the floor, but just a little stretch through the groin and the inner thigh. Back center, leg comes up straight. Point and flex, circle the ankle. And both knees in, give yourself a squeeze. Head comes up, really tight little ball. Shift your hands to your left leg, right leg drops. And the head comes down, really squeeze through that hip joint. Remember, these poses are cleansing. So when we're squeezing at the knee joint, squeezing at the hip, we're getting rid of just toxins, stuck energy. Really squeeze and then take that knee out to the side. Keep your hips squared. Move a little bit. And the leg comes back to center and up. Really nice, everybody. Let's bend that knee, both knees into the chest. We're going to come up into waterfall. So if you like to put something underneath your hips, you could start in bridge, place your block or your bolster, and then lift your legs up in the air. This nice little suspended place. Just a wonderful inversion. Point and flex your feet. Circle your ankles. Might feel good to just flop your arms open and close your eyes. Just let yourself be here, upside down. Slowly bend the knees, place your feet on the floor. If there's something under your hips, slide it out. Extend your feet out to the corners of your mat, your arms out to your sides, so your body is spacious and open. Flop your feet in and out a few times and let them just end open and heavy. Feel your calves on the floor, your thighs, your hips. Feel gravity, your shoulder blades, the backs of your arms, your hands, the back of your head. Feel your whole body resting here, awake and calm. As you continue resting, I invite you to just follow a simple breath in through your nose. Observe the journey it makes through your body, and observe a breath leaving the body. Just watch your breath. As you continue resting here in your bigness, your spaciousness, I'd like you, if you would like, to bring one hand to your belly, one hand to your heart. Just going to leave you with some words of Baron Baptiste. Your greatest tests will come in the dark moments when your soul is being squeezed. That's when you want to be grounded in your bigger purpose, your North Star. When your heart is truly lit up about something, you don't do it, it does you. Perseverance becomes the only choice. The person who is being of power doesn't dwell in explanations and excuses, but rather in what's happening in reality and the realization of conscious results. The true secret of a great life is making a difference for others. We're truly happy when we're in service to something that uses and possesses us for the greater good. Take a deep breath, my friends, and stretch your arms overhead. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, yawn, and move onto one side. When you feel ready, return to your seat, the place where we started. Let's take a deep breath together. Arms reach high, stretch way up and out. Gather your hands together in front of heart center. My friends, may we leave our mat today remembering Hanuman, remembering the moment when he said, I've got to do something about this, and I'm just going to get in action. I'm going to get in service for that which is greater than me and the greater good. May we all be willing today to take those flying leaps that feel like we're overstretched at times, but remembering what we came here to do. Thank you all for coming to your mats today. I love you dearly. Namaste.